The holiday rental.
A romantic getaway turns into a nightmare when we discovered hidden cameras in our secluded holiday cabin. Trapped by a snowstorm and cut off from the outside world, we unravel a chilling mystery that follows us even after we escape. Welcome to the channel and listen to my story. When I booked the cabin, I thought it was a steal. A secluded retreat for less than half the price of other rentals in the area? It sounded too good to be true, but I chalked it up to luck. I even showed Alex the listing, joking that we might have stumbled on a hidden gem. He wasn't as sold on it as I was, but he shrugged and said, "If it makes you happy, let's go for it." The drive up was beautiful at first, snow-covered trees lining the road, the sky clear and crisp. But as we got closer, the GPS started glitching and the roads narrowed into icy, unpaved paths. We missed the turnoff twice before spotting the hand-painted sign. Hilltop Haven, your perfect getaway. We met George, the landlord, at a gas station in the nearest town. He was a wiry man with deep-set eyes and a distracted air, like he had somewhere else to be. "No cell signal out there," he warned as he handed us the keys. "And if the snow keeps up, you'll be stuck for a day or two. But the woodpile's stocked and the cabin's warm. You'll be fine." Something about his tone left me uneasy, but I brushed it off. It was probably just the way people were out here. Gruff, practical. The cabin was exactly like the photos, cozy, rustic, and surrounded by pristine forest. Inside, the smell of cedar and wood smoke was comforting, and I felt myself relax as we unpacked. That evening, Alex lit a fire, and we sat by the hearth with mugs of hot chocolate, watching the snow fall. It wasn't until the next morning that I noticed something odd. I was straightening up the living room when I saw it, a tiny black dot nestled on the edge of the bookshelf. At first, I thought it was just a screw, but when I touched it, I realized it was warm. A camera. "Alex," I called out, my voice tight. He came over, frowning as I held it up. "Is that?" He didn't finish the sentence. We spent the next hour searching the cabin, and by the end of it, we'd found 3 more cameras. One in the kitchen, another on the bedroom dresser, and one hidden in the bathroom light fixture. "We need to call George," I said, my hands trembling. The call was frustrating. George insisted he didn't know anything about the cameras. "I've rented that place out for years and no one's ever complained," he said. His voice sounded strained, almost angry, and he hung up before I could press him further. That night, the storm rolled in. The wind howled around the cabin, rattling the windows, and the snow piled up so fast we couldn't see the driveway anymore. Alex tried calling George again, but the signal was too weak. We didn't sleep much. Every creak of the cabin, every gust of wind made my skin crawl. At one point, I thought I heard faint tapping on the window, but when I looked, there was nothing there, just darkness and snow. By morning, the storm had worsened. The narrow road leading back to town was completely buried, and we were officially trapped. That afternoon, Alex decided to check the perimeter of the cabin. "Maybe I'll find something," he said. "A trail camera or, I don't know, something to explain this." I wanted to argue, but the truth was, I didn't feel safe inside or out. "Be quick," I said. When he left, the silence felt suffocating. I sat by the fire, listening to every little sound the cabin made. Then I heard it again, that faint tapping on the window. My heart pounded as I turned toward the noise. This time, I thought I saw movement, a shadowy figure slipping into the trees. When Alex came back, he was pale and tight-lipped. "Nothing," he said when I asked if he'd seen anything. "Let's just stay inside." That night, we made a horrifying discovery. While trying to block the draft under the bedroom door, I noticed something stuck in the wood frame. A tiny microphone, so small it was nearly invisible. "This isn't just cameras," I whispered. "Someone's listening to us too." We didn't wait for the storm to pass. At first light, we packed up and left, barely able to navigate the snow-covered road. My hands were shaking on the wheel as I gripped the steering wheel, and Alex kept glancing out the window like he expected someone to be following us. When we finally reached the police station, the officers took our report, but didn't seem particularly alarmed. "We'll look into it," one of them said, flipping through a notebook. "But the landlord's been here for years. Doesn't seem like the type." Weeks later, I found it. While unpacking a bag I hadn't touched since the trip, I spotted a small black device tucked into the lining, a camera. My stomach turned as I realized it must have been planted there while we were at the cabin. I haven't been able to sleep properly since. Every noise, every shadow feels like a threat. Alex says I'm paranoid, but I can't shake the feeling that someone is still watching. Sometimes, I wake up in the middle of the night and think I hear that faint tapping on the window. And sometimes I wonder if it's really paranoia, or if someone's just waiting for us to come back.